as Asians, as Singaporeans, we're not afraid of working hard. The big question I always ask myself is, we climb the ladder, but is the ladder really on the right wall?
If you do the same thing over and over again and you expect the result or the outcome to be different, it is actually crazy.
A career banker for, I guess, most of my life, actually, more than 25 years, 26 years or so, but I'm finally retired. I had a health scare some 6.5 years ago. I think that woke me up, essentially. My current property, I've got 4 right now, 2 actively running, the other 2 is coming on the way, really on the way. So when all come in, we're looking at possibly around 10 to 11 grand Sing monthly.
I still remember Daniel said, if you can afford to buy a car, you definitely can afford to buy a house in UK.
There you go.
All right, so welcome everyone to this episode. I was really excited about it, and so glad that we have Joceyln, Kah Fook, and Marvyn here with us. These are, investors who have turned friends over the years. I've personally journeyed with them over the many years, and I'm really proud that, first of all, they are friends because we are very like-minded. Our values are aligned. I think a big reason why we're doing this is for our children, our families, and for more time freedom. But at the same time, very, very proud of how they have grown their portfolios and passive income. Yeah, for me, every property that you guys buy or our students buy brings me great joy and gives me a lot of, motivation and drive to, keep doing what we are doing. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Pleasure.
So maybe as we start, I'll just ask each of you to just go around and introduce yourselves, tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself, your background, what do you do, and how do you get started? What motivated you to get started in property investing? We'll start with Joss.
Ladies first, right?
Yeah, ladies first.
Yes, please.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Joceyln. I'm a realtor in Singapore. I've been very familiar with this area. So started investing in the UK around 2018. And my big why is more free time with family. Yeah, I think my husband and I were working long hours in our previous jobs. And I think at some point we thought, time is passing by, our kid is growing up. When do we get time to spend with them? It's so precious when they grow up, right? So yeah, I think that was what motivated us to get started, to think about other forms of income.
Yeah, having more time. I remember your husband, he was working in a kind of startup environment and super long hours, no day, no night, right? Tell us a bit about that.
2 a.m. It was so typical for him to stay up till 2 a.m. to get his work done. And startups, right, they're a little bit more growth driven. So it was, you have to finish your work nonetheless. You don't just knock off and go home and sleep. It doesn't work like that. And also over the weekends, weekends are supposed to be precious family time, but he was working long hours even into the weekends. So I think that really, really sent a signal to us like, hey, at some point, is this sustainable? Like we should stop somewhere and really rethink, is this the track we want to go on for years to come? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That really makes sense. And I guess it resonates with a lot of us who grew up, studied here, working here. In fact, I'm sure many are still living in such a situation, right? And you feel like a bit like a hamster on a wheel and you're not sure when you can start. Yeah. When you can stop, rather. Yeah. Let's hear from you, Kah Fook.
Hi. My name is Kah Fook, 49 years old. Currently, work for IT company full-time for the last 27 years. So the main reason that I try to explore or try to look for something that is alternative or passive, all right, in addition to what the current investment that I have. Yeah.
Okay, great. So it's finding ways to make your money work harder for you. I mean, you found some ways, but you also are looking in property.
Yes.
Why is property exciting for you?
Well, honestly, property is always my preferred investment, even in the Singapore market as well overseas. So when I have a chance to come across your advertisement, it's something that it makes sense because for UK, all right, we inherit UK laws, right? So I always like to do something that I'm familiar. Not 95%, at least 90%. So yeah, so that is something that property is something that always excites me. Yeah, correct.
Great. Maybe later we'll ask you a bit more about why have you decided to go to the UK rather than here, and also I would love to hear perspectives from Joceyln.
Sure.
Great. Over to you, Marv.
Hi, I'm Marvyn. A career banker for I guess most of my life actually, around more than 25 years, 26 years or so. But I'm finally retired. I had a health scare some 6.5 years ago. I think that woke me up essentially to say, hey, is this sustainable? I was keeping long hours as well, very much being in the industry. So I mean, so looking at the hours I was keeping, the lifestyle I was keeping, time away from the family as well. So I think that was something that pretty much woke me up, and I said, look, I need to do something. And that's when I started exploring and seeing what else I could do in order to make this a more sustainable journey beyond my career. So I think that's what I did. Yeah.
Great.
And that's why I started looking at the UK youth space as well, because I think that was something that I previously was not very familiar with, but upon mixing with the right, I would say, circle of people, then I think it kind of helps in terms of understanding the whole infrastructure, the processes, the legal, framework and all. It kind of helps a lot, right? That allowed me to then build up the alternate source of passive income.
Great,
for myself. Yeah.
Great to hear. I think probably you guys look at him like, wow, are you retired already? You look quite young, but I know obviously he spent many years in the industry. If you don't mind sharing, Marvyn, maybe tell us a bit more detail, like what happened on the day of that health scare, what were you doing, what happened? Yeah.
Sure. So I was at work actually, on normal day of work, preparing for a client meeting. And basically what happened was I had a stroke essentially. So it was the worst headache you could ever imagine. And I still went for the client meeting, think about it. So,
Wow.
but clearly I didn't know it was a stroke at that point in time. I just thought it was a very bad headache. Took 2 Panadols, didn't work clearly. But only when I went to the GP, and then this when the GP actually said, let me refer you to a neurologist. I said, right. Now this sounds a little bit more serious than a headache. And that's when I realized that it was actually more serious than what it was. Went through the whole shebang, open brain surgery and all. And that's when I started realizing. It's only when I woke up a few days later, after my induced coma, then that's when I realized that how lucky I was essentially. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. And I'm just getting goosebumps as you can't imagine being in that situation and how your family, colleagues would have felt through that. It must have been scary, and your kids were young then as well.
Absolutely. But think about it. This realization really kicked in maybe a couple of months thereafter. Then is when you realize that how lucky you were, and then making plans for the next leap basically, essentially. That's what's key, in fact. Yeah.
I think that's really sobering to hear, because without realizing it, as what Joceyln was saying, you can go on working weeks and months, working overtime, OT and weekends, but something's got to give, right? Yeah. And in Marv's case, he had that health scare. For other people, it might be different realizations, but I guess you come to a point where, especially in Singapore, we people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, at some point, I guess, will reach a bit of a decision point where it's like, enough is enough, I need to do something different. Did you all have similar, like turning points, or like?
I think we as a human, especially plus we are Asian, we always try to push ourselves a little bit more. Like until there are something like what Marcus have encountered, that's where we start to realize that try to do something different. Yeah. So I think, that is quite scary. But as for my case itself, I always look for something, because how should I say that? For me, I consider myself not somebody that is smart. All right. That's where you will always feel that you need to do something to complement in case there's something bad happen. All right. So as compared to those that are smart and they don't worry about they will lose their job, retrench one day itself, I think they will not need to worry. Most of the people that I've talked to, that I encounter. So this is something that is, I won't say it's a worrying trend, all right? But I think, they might have something that trigger them to have a second thought of alternative to the income itself.
Yeah. And I think that's quite encouraging what Kah Fook shared, like, I don't know about you guys, but I think we all identify ourselves as ordinary Singaporeans. We're not super clever, not super smart. We work hard, study hard, and we kind of have what we have today also as a result of the effort that we have put in, right? Joss, any thoughts, comments on what they have shared?
I think there's a saying by, was it Einstein? Correct me if I'm wrong, about if you do the same thing over and over again and you expect the result or the outcome to be different, it is actually crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it really dawned on me lah. Like, you know, I didn't have a health scare, thankfully, but I think it was the relationship I had with my husband with his long hours and my long hours as well, but his hours were much longer. The strain in the relationship, and also I think having a child in the family, how they grow, you know, when they grow and they meet their milestones, it really is testament to how fast time flies. I think that for me, it wasn't a scare, but it just really dawned on me one day that, you know, something needs to be done differently from my usual, you know, daily, you know, the days are so fast, right? You don't really come back to think like, was today well spent? Until one day you realize that actually, what have I done this past 1 year or 2 years, you know? Yeah.
That's so true. That my wife just sent me a very funny meme about, you know, we have a new Pope, right? Pope Leo, and then he comes out to the
Yep.
and then he waves to everybody. And she sent me the meme like, how my husband looks when he put the baby to sleep. Because that's what happened last night.
Oh, really? You came out and you...
Because mommy, no, I didn't do that. I was like, very proud of myself. You know? So, but that reminds me that, you know, whenever we think of our kids, right, like the days are long or the nights are long, but the years are short.
Exactly.
And I mean, for those of us in our 40s, 50s, 60s, how many more 30, 40 years do we have in our life?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, having Marvyn shared his experience, I guess every day, every month, every year becomes extra precious. I've lost someone close to me this year. So, you know, that made me reflect a lot on what life is about. What do we truly want in life? A lot of times we chase and we run and, you know, we're not one, as Asians, as Singaporeans, we're not afraid of working hard, right?
Yep.
But I guess the big question I always ask myself is, we climb the ladder, but is the ladder really on the right wall? And we don't want to reach the top or, you know, reach relatively high up on the ladder only to have that big realization. Yeah. Maybe tell us a little bit about, you know, your motivations, your kids, your why, and, you know, your vision in like, what do you think property investing has allowed you to do more of, or you hope that it will be able to allow you to do more of? I know, maybe let's start with Marv, because I know he has exciting plans now that he has been retired, or I don't know.
Going to be full-time
Yes.
property investor.
New face in life.
Sure. So absolutely. I mean, I think now with I would say time freedom on my hands, I mean, it allows me to then spend more time with them, which I'm going to do literally next week onwards. So I'm flying off to Australia, where they are right now. Really, really looking forward to it. This is something that I've always been planning for all these years, but, you know, needed to make sure that the base is covered essentially, right? That there's still income coming in. Now it's no longer passive. It will be clearly active already. Now that I'm going to be a full-time investor.
No, the other way around. It's no longer active, going to be passive.
Exactly. But I needed to start somewhere, right? So I think that journey to start is probably the most challenging for most people, right? Like I've seen one saying that goes, everybody has the will to win, but very few people have the will to prepare to win. I think that's the key, right? So I think that journey will clearly be one that's not straight, plenty of curveballs along the way, but it's the will to then push on beyond these curveballs. That's the key, right? So I think that's something that we've always kept in mind, my wife and I kept in mind, that, you know, this is a new journey for us. This will be a journey that we will, you know, take going forward, but I think it's going to be one that is sustainable. That's the key word, sustainable. Yeah.
And I remember recently he shared that he was retired earlier. He was actually, what's the word for it now? It's the big R that everybody fears, right?
Of course.
Made redundant or retrenched, right? And I think in our current environment, there's going to be more and more of that. As you know, it's not if, but when the next recession is going to happen and unemployment is going to go up.
Exactly.
So we've been having this chat, and he's saying, Dan, I need to prepare over the last 2-3 years for that, because I mean, as we work, we get more senior, we get older, then the
and
risk,
more expensive.
Yes, that's right. Right.
The risk gets higher.
Exactly.
So he said, I need to prepare for that day to come. So when I heard that he was asked to leave, then I reached out to him and I said, hey, I guess congratulations are in order.
Absolutely.
Which is a funny message to send. Usually you don't tell somebody who got retrenched congratulations. But because we've been journeying on the side and I know that he's been building up his passive income.
I was the happiest person on the floor that day, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, you were saying that your managers and leaders were quite
Surprise.
Tell us about what happened that day.
So I mean, I just thank you very much. At the end of the day, right? It was.
Were they
it
like
was,
quite apprehensive when they came to you?
I mean, I guess they were respectful in that sense, right? They were. Given the situation and all that, but I was actually literally smiling all the way. Literally, when it happened, I was like, thank you very much. Really, really.
Is it because of the golden handshake?
Totally, right? Totally, right? I mean,
Must be something, you see?
Yeah, exactly,
okay.
exactly.
Yeah, and also because you're well prepared.
Exactly
right?
that.
So,
too,
so
that
you're
too.
not afraid of this happening.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally, right? I mean, I think that's the key, right? I mean, as they always say, right? A failure to prepare is a
Plan to fail,
is
right?
plan
if
is
you
plan
fail
to
to
fail.
plan,
Exactly.
you plan to fail. something
Exactly,
like that.
exactly. So always be prepared, right?
Yeah.
I guess especially in the environment that we're in, like you said, Dan, especially in financial services, I think that's even more key, right? Where everybody has a use by date, right? So I mean, make sure that you're prepared by the use by date. That's essentially it.
That's the hard truth, but I think something that more people need to hear, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I came across another, as you know, I meet so many hundreds of students over the course of our work that we do. One of them shared with me that he was in a company for 20-some, almost 30 years, and he was given 24 hours to decide whether he would leave or stay.
Oh.
He was almost in tears, his wife and I, as we were doing that call, and he said, never a day, I can remember exactly what he said. I have never taken a single day of MC in a 20-some years, and they gave me 24 hours to decide.
Oh my goodness.
And
Slightly
I
rude.
feel quite emotional and
Yep,
even quite
yep.
angry just recounting that. And then I told him, it's a
Slightly rude.
yeah, but I also feel that things happen for a reason, right? And there's no by chance that he was working with us or whoever is listening to this podcast. I think the opportunity is there for those who want to make a difference or make a change in their lives. Yeah.
Can I add on as
Yeah,
well?
please.
You know,
Sure.
you're talking about finance service,
Yep.
financial side, right?
Yep.
Actually, I think it's happening in all sectors, even in the tech sector. I mean, my husband is in the tech sector. So we were just having a very casual conversation that day. And I mean, now it's the hype word, right? AI. It's coming in for real. And he's already feeling it in his workplace. And he is feeling that, the general sense is, I mean, not just in his company, but in other companies as well, people whom I've spoken with, my clients. The feel is that in time to come, we're not looking at 10, 20 years. It could be in the next 1 to 2 years,
Totally.
where certain roles, especially entry roles, simple roles, maybe even fresh grad roles, they'll be very easily replaced by AI. And even senior roles, like where we get more expensive in the ladder, right? We get more expensive. Your job, your team could be halved. You're expected to take more value-added roles. If your job can be easily taken over by AI, you are made redundant easily. Yeah, so I think it's real. If we are not prepared, before we know it, it's going to come and take, whatever we thought was real will be taken away from us.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great point. You're in tech as well, Kah Fook, your thoughts?
Yes. Yeah, I can consider myself quite lucky that I have all this conscious naturally. Maybe because of what I went through. Okay, I'm Malaysian. Okay, I come from Malacca. So I always tell a joke to my friends that if your parents are rich enough, okay, because Malaysian Chinese, we are minority. All right. So the chances of us getting into the local U itself is, I tell you, it's very slim. Of course. Okay, it's very slim back during my days itself. So I will tell my friend the joke is like, if your father is rich enough, they will send you overseas. But my father is rich enough to send me over the bridge, over the river.
To Singapore.
It's one-way ticket.
Wow.
So during the journey of traveling, leaving your home, your comfort place to a foreign place, okay, that made me realize a lot of things. Just for example, it's like when I'm taking bus across the causeway, especially, I see those pregnant lady carry pram and still have to carry herself into the bus cell. I tell myself this is something that I will not want my future wife or future family to go through. So all these observation, realization made me to take actions. To action. Also, of course, like what I said in the beginning, that I'm not those smart. When you are not smart, that's where you will start to plan. You will worry about what if. What happened to you. Then if I also always claim myself as those as slow response. So I would like to take times to build. I like that. So I like to do something that slowly, and with all this combined, that will define who am I today. I think that's what to say. The past will define who you are in the future.
That's really powerful.
Yes.
And it also reminds me, when we see people like security guards or, I know the lady who is a security guard where we're living in. She travels to and fro Malaysia and Singapore daily. She got into an accident on a motorcycle, but once she's recovered, she's back. And I think, people would go the distance to chase their dreams if it's a better income, a better way of life for their kids. Yes. Let's shift gears a bit to talk about, what made us go all the way to the UK to invest? Why not here? What were your initial thoughts? Were you skeptical of it? And yeah.
Like what I say, if continue from what I've described earlier, so I always looking for something that is alternative investment. Okay, all right. So I have done many kinds. Okay, be it like bank offered products, okay, options, ELNs, equity linked notes, all this I have tried before. So this is where I realized that this is where we will start to realize that what is actually suitable for us itself. So for me, like what we all know that as time passes, our time, okay, and it's going to be shortened. So that's where, for me, I start to define what I would like to do next. So when I met Daniel back in 3 years ago, 2022 time, that is where I start to plan my last lap. What my last lap meant is my last 10 years. So that is where I want to ensure that nothing will go wrong, okay, predictable, controllable, and I no longer want to try and errors. Okay, so that is how I find that property investment is something that is going to be very secure, all right, and it's at your control. What it meant is like, as compared to if you buy equity or stocks. For example, one day if the CEO of the company make a wrong move, what happened, political, geographical
or somebody
issue.
sends out a tweet.
Correct. So I no longer want to be affected by those. That's why I'm very clear in my next 10 years, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to embark and consolidate. So, yeah. So, why UK? I think I mentioned earlier before. I like to do something that I'm familiar with. I can understand. Okay, we inherit UK law. Our convincing everything was quite similar. Then plus, like what I told Daniel, I actually remember is like, what I need is something that is to be guided. Okay, not to repeat or make mistake. Because this is my last 10 years. I can't afford to do that itself. So, yeah. So, everything come, I would say that I quite lucky. I found Daniel, all right, and guided through the mentorship. Then the rest itself is up to us to make things happen already. All right,
great.
So I get the question a lot, actually. A lot of my clients and friends, families, they know I'm a realtor, right? So they will ask, why you don't invest in Singapore? Why you go overseas, so dangerous? Why if there's something happens overseas, you can't really control and you can't touch and feel the place, for example. So I guess for me, we started slightly earlier in our lives. In our early 30s, we started to dabble in this. So I think back then we owned our home in Singapore, or it was a flat. We owned our home in Singapore. Then the thing is, because we were quite early in our journey, we didn't have a lot of savings. We didn't have a huge lump sum of money to go into the deposit for our next home. So it immediately came to us that we do believe in property. I mean, I'm a realtor, obviously. I believe in property, right? Something you can touch, something that has inherent value. It's not like maybe equity or stocks where overnight the value might just drop. I mean, it can also go the other way, then hooray lah, but we will never know. It's so unpredictable. It can just suddenly drop to nothingness. But property is different. Everyone has a need for a place to stay. It will never lose its value. I mean, the piece, even if the house is gone, the piece of land is something, right? So for me, I'm more traditional, perhaps. I like something that's more stable, like KF mentioned, stable. So we also like UK because the laws, like he mentioned, is very similar. So a lot of knowledge that I have of the Singapore property market is very transferable. Yeah, but I was talking about I don't have a huge deposit kind of thing. So overseas property in the UK, I mean, depending on where you invest. Of course, if you invest in London, it'll be different. If you invest in maybe Liverpool, it's different prices. So we decided to go for maybe the slightly cheaper properties, the cheaper properties in the UK, where we could start off, learn how the process is before we buy more and more expensive properties. So for us, it was mainly because the quantum made sense. We are quite familiar with the laws there. And I think UK generally is quite a stable country. So yeah, that's why.
Right. Thanks for that, Joss. And KF, tell us a bit about the quantum. I'm sure our listeners would be, excited to know how much can you start with, or like how much capital do you need?
Yeah, so the first property I bought, I think a lot of my friends and my clients that I share this with, they're very shocked. So I told them, my first property is only about 70 Singapore dollars, 70,000, sorry, not 70, 70,000 Singapore dollars. Then you're like, huh? You can't even buy a HDB flat in Singapore with that price.
Or
I'm
a
like,
car.
yeah.
Not even a COE.
Yeah, sorry, not even COE now. Yeah, exactly. So they get very shocked. I'm like, yeah, I started with something very small, very cheap in a way. For property sense, it's very cheap. So that if I make any mistake, it's, I learn here. I make all the mistakes I should make here. I learn my lessons here so that I can branch out and go into more expensive ones. Yeah, so...
And that was a buy-to-let in Durham, if I recall.
Yes.
It was a small house.
Yes.
What kind of yields are you getting across your portfolio?
Well, gross yield, I remember, is about 12%.
How about net?
Net, I think it's closer to 10 or 9 or 10.
Okay.
After taking away all the operating expenses, there's the letting fees and all that.
Yeah.
And certain repairs that insurance as well. So it's about 9 to 10% about
profit.
that. The tenant is still there. I just got the rent yesterday, like it's like payday like that. You see the money come in, like yay! Except that you didn't do anything, the money just comes in because it's rent, right? You don't actively work for it; it's passive.
Yeah.
So the tenant from 2018, so that's about 7 years ago. Same until now, no change.
Same tenant.
Awesome.
Oh my
Every
goodness.
month. There
awesome.
were this entire 7 years. He has only missed 1 month, but he paid back already. So it's been so carefree for me.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So I believe not just the same rent that you received in 2018, I believe there's increment as well.
Slight increment, yes.
Yes, correct. So that is the beauty of it. Also to in the financial term we call it is to beat the inflation.
Oh yes.
Correct. Yeah, I would like to add on about the quantum. I
Yeah.
still remember Daniel said if you can afford to buy a car, you definitely can afford to buy a house in UK.
There you go.
Correct, Daniel? Yeah, great. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us a bit about the kind of net yields you're seeing across your portfolio, because I know you all own each now. I'm really proud of them, by the way. They all own multiple properties in the UK, generating thousands of passive income for their family. If you don't mind sharing, maybe what is the kind of average net yields? How much passive income are you getting every month? Yeah.
In general, the yield will be definitely is above 10 itself, and it will be depend on the strategy. All right. So just now, Joyce, I think I had mentioned about BTL, buy to let. If say example the next if we're talking about social housing,
Right.
I think the yield will be definitely better itself. With the guiding principle that what we learn in the class, in the mentorship itself, okay, will guide us to explore, to chance. Okay, for me, I would say that I'm a risk taker. I'm taking calculated risk kind of people. So what I mean is like as long the number makes sense itself. So for me, in average, my yield is about 13%. Net yield. Net yield is 13% after all the tax, all the expenses itself. Because there are certain part of my portfolio are social housing, where I explore in the so-called, I would say, rural area. Cheaper property price, but can give you a yield. That's where I park all my social housing portfolio there. Okay, so in ours is a layman, you will say that it's a cash cow. Okay, will generate the income itself. Okay, so as for capital appreciation of the house itself, is a bonus. If it appreciate, why not? But I know if we observe, I think most of the property in UK are 2-bedder or 3-bedder. Actually, the needs of the local itself actually more than that. So by doing conversion, like what I did for my social housing in those rural areas to become 4 beds or 5 beds itself, that eventually, if one day if I plan to sell it, liquid it in the market itself, I think there will be certain demand also. So these are those that we know the situation, we plan it accordingly, we add value, like what Daniel say, add value to the property itself, and while we are waiting for the day for the capital appreciation, at the same time we get paid every month through rents.
Yeah.
And the rent are not consistent, and there is cater for inflation as well. Yeah.
When you say not consistent, meaning it goes up over time.
Sorry, pardon for my words. Yeah, it will go up. Meaning it will not be the same amount, but it will go up.
Right.
I think there's a happy moment itself.
Yeah. Can I make a clarification? Sorry, just now you asked me whether my rent increased, right? For the first house, no. It has been consistent for the 7 years. The other two houses increased drastically. But for the first house, no, because it's the same tenant and he belongs to the slightly, maybe more, I would say, he gets housing benefit from the council. So I quite tintai with the rent. So as long as he's happy there, he takes good care of my house, I have not increase my rent for that particular house. Just want to be clear.
Thanks for clarifying that. And I think, what's exciting, yes, we make money and, rents appreciate, capital values appreciate. I'm sure, if you're investing for some time, the values of the properties have gone up as well. What excites me is to raise the next generation of investors, of landlords who are, want to do things well, do it with integrity. And I mean, if she has a tenant that's been there paying her rent on time every time for 7 years, yes, the rents, I'm sure the market rents have gone up.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But she's decided to keep it at the same rate. I presume this guy takes care of the property.
He does.
Pays you rent on time.
Yeah, he
Why
fixes
not,
things on his own. If it's a small thing, right, he fixes it on his own. So I'm pretty happy to have a tenant like that.
Yeah, I'm sure even in the midst of COVID, rents were going sky high, even here in Singapore and there. I remember you sharing with me that you decided very deliberately not to raise rents, just to provide a home for the tenant.
Yeah, even though the letting agent did suggest if you want to revise the rent, you can. But I'm like, never mind lah. It's okay. As long as he's happy there, I'm happy.
That's great. And I think it's about win-win, right? Like, how can we create win-win situations? The more, to me, I believe, like, if you want to be successful in life, the more you can give and add value to people, the more successful you'll be. So, I mean, you guys are here on an invitation, right? I'm not paying you to be here this evening. And in that same way, I feel like, whatever you share, you're going to get back much more, right? I think that's just the way the universe works. So thank you for that. Funny story about Kah Fook. I know he, I think what's amazing to me and it's so encouraging for me is what I've achieved in the last 13 years of investing in the UK. You guys are achieving in a much shorter time. There's like acceleration factor. So I think in a short 1 to 2 years, Kah Fook was like 5 to 6 properties.
Yeah, it's super fast.
Then haven't finished yet. Then I didn't see him for about a year. Then the next time I met him in a hawker
Bukit
center.
Like 10 already, 20?
In a hawker center. Then he asked me, "Hey, you still recognize me?" I said, "Of course." That time I couldn't really recognize him because he was keeping a little goatee.
Oh, I see.
And I said, "Yes, Kah Fook, of course I recognize you. Are you still investing in the UK?" And then he said, "I'm at how many properties then?"
20?
11.
Wow.
Yeah, he said 11 properties,
awesome.
right?
Good job.
But it's also not about the number of properties.
Yes, correct.
Because it's, everybody is on our own race.
Yep.
We're not racing against each other. For Marvyn, he has accumulated a few properties, 5,000-6,000 passive income a month, or potentially more with the next deal coming in.
Yeah, correct.
And that might be, sufficient to cover his basic expenses and more, right? What kind of gross rent are you getting monthly, if you don't mind sharing? Ballpark.
No, I can share. It's about 20k Sing.
Wow.
Sing dollars, yeah.
20k Sing dollars. I would like to add on, like what I said, like what Daniel said, it's not about the numbers itself. It's about whole sentiment itself. Also, when you know that something is correct, is right, I think you will unconsciously going to repeat it itself. All right. I wouldn't say that I'm greedy. Okay, I would say that this is something that is right, and because we can see the result itself, right? As I believe in Singapore market as well. Don't get me wrong itself. Just that the market is no longer, I would say that is allow me to use make sense. The number doesn't make sense in terms of the ROI, in terms of the investment return. So if there's an alternative who offer you better yield in that sense itself, why not? And you have done that, you have experienced it, you have started with something small, right? I did as well. I started something in Glasgow. I bought a flat, all right? And like what I share with everybody, that I like the building. It's next to town hall, imagine that. It's a historical kind of place. I can't imagine I can own it at a very fraction of the price. I actually remember 47,800 pounds. So I decided to embark on the journey itself.
£47,800 for the whole property.
For the
The
flat
flat
itself.
Yeah,
For the flat
freehold
itself.
as well.
Yeah, freehold itself.
Freehold.
All right. And good thing is tenant is situ.
Yes, I love that. I love that. From day one, you get rent.
I definitely agree with her, like what she said just now. All right. My current tenant have been there for the last 2 years. Never give me problem.
Yes.
As we know, UK property can be built in 18th century. Right? So as older as I think our age add out, so definitely will have issue. Plus their weather itself.
Yes.
Plus their weather, especially when during the raining
Winter
season
months,
itself.
yeah.
But this tenant are very chill with the thing itself. They do report. I was still taking care. Just that I can feel that it's not those like pressing us to must fix it around that kind of situation. As for the rent increase, it's my maintenance so-called letting agent to keep pushing me. Say Mr. Wu, there is you are eligible, you are entitled to increase 5% or whatever it is. I say honestly, let's handle this tactfully. The last thing that I want is lose tenant, lose 1 month. I think the cost will be more than the increment itself.
Yep.
So if you would like to, you maybe reduce the word wisely, say number like 5%. Actually, 5% of $500 is $25. If you use the number $25 increment compared to 5%, I think it sounds very different. So these are kind of thing that I work with the letting agent. That is what I meant by we embark on this kind of property investment. We can control the outcome, putting our effort, we maintain, make it nice. I think, I think this is what I meant. Yeah,
Great, Kah Fook. Thanks for that, Joss. Your thoughts, Marvyn?
Totally. I mean, my current property, I've got 4 right now. 2 actively running. The other 2 is coming on the way, really on the way. So when all come in, we're looking at probably around 10 to 11 grand Sing monthly. Yep. So that will certainly help in terms of the cash flows for us. We had to build it along the way as well. So I think that's something, it's a journey that I think my wife and I really enjoy doing. I mean, dealing with all the different, I would say, power team on the ground, we would have been tremendous help, I must say, right? Because they are the experts on the ground, right? So without them, this could not fly at all, right? So I think that's really key if you ask me. A lot of the feedback, advice that they give, I mean, we take it on board, and I think that's something that we value very much, right? People that we can trust on the ground.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I'm sure a question that was on everybody's mind is, y'all make it sound very good, very easy, right? What was the proudest moment you had, like the challenge you had to overcome? I'm sure some people, when they meet challenges, that challenge stops them, and then they're like, maybe it doesn't work, it's not for me, and it spirals downwards. Obviously, that you guys didn't allow that to happen. That's why you're where you're at today. Tell us about that. What was a moment, like a defining moment, or something that you felt really proud to overcome?
Maybe I start with something that is simple. I think to me, challenges is everywhere. No matter what we are doing, even in our normal daily life, we will definitely face some challenges. It depends on how we see the challenges. The challenges to me is a way of learning. Okay, if everything was smooth sailing, you may not learn as much as possible. And by learning through all these challenges, by mitigation, okay, that is where I think we will learn to be better, to better equip in our next deal, in our next property, in whatever that we are doing itself. Yeah. So this is how I see the challenges from that perspective itself. All right. So that is where I think we should not be worried unless it's totally they can't be resolved. So as what maybe I share some of the challenges that I really so-called I would say that proud to have it, but can be resolved. Okay, that I think maybe I will never encounter this or never believe that this happened to me itself. So what happened is like I have done the necessary. I have the lease agreement with the social housing provider. Okay. Then for whatever good reason, they can't sign off. So imagine that you have purchased a property, you have based on the numbers that I work out, that I agree and plan it, all right, refurb it nicely, just waiting for them to sign off and collect my rent itself. And for whatever the reason is, they can't sign off. That's where it's a bigger challenge at that point to me itself, because I don't like something that is a property that's sitting down there not generating income.
Yep.
Right? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So that's where I start to learn that actually there are other social housing provider, be it locally, be it those big boys, right? They also are others very uniquely so-called social housing provider, like for those that, like example, autism children's
Oh yes.
taking care, where they pay better. So these challenges turn out to be a good outcome for me. Yeah. So of course, I wasted the time in the first few months to find the next tenant itself. Of course, the new tenants or the social housing provider may have different requirements. I still have to fix, repair, or make some changes here and there itself. But I think the outcome is worth it.
Yeah.
Like what I said.
That's a great, sharing about the mindset and how you overcome that, found new opportunities,
Yes.
pay better rent, and perhaps maybe, supporting a area of need as well, a different segment of the social sector that needs help. And just thinking out loud, right? That also opens doors to work with that social provider for other projects.
Yes.
So a lot of
Agree.
people, they fixate it, especially if it's their first 1 or 2 deals,
Yeah.
right? Then obviously there's a lot of nervousness,
Yep.
and then they feel like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling kind of feeling. I always remind myself to empathize, right? Because for us, we've been there, done that, we've worked through the challenges, and then that helps us build our mindset. It reinforces that, for every challenge, there's a solution.
Yes.
And a lot of times, actually, for, I don't know how to put it, people that, are always fearing things will go wrong, they kind of almost attract their problems to themselves, and things will keep going wrong. But for those who feel like, come what may, I'm going to power through every challenge, more and more opportunities are created. And another student had a similar situation as you. They decided to, not just explore other providers, they decided to privately let it, and they got higher rents, yes, slightly higher outgoings, but in the end, it was not even as a HMO. There was a family with children with special needs, and they said, we just want to take the whole house and we'll pay you the HMO rent rate.
Oh, nice.
And I was just so amazed at that situation, because like everything could have happened just so that family could have their home.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Right? If they didn't have that challenges along the way, that family wouldn't have benefited
Yep.
staying in that property. So, life works in funny ways. We can't really predict, how it goes. But what I can be certain is, if we power through that, we work with experts, we continue to stay close to the fire. There's always a silver lining in this situation.
Oh, totally right. I think at the end of the day, it's through these challenges that's where opportunities lie, if you ask me, right? Because if things were that smooth sailing, then you won't get the sort of opportunity that you're hunting for, right? If things were smooth sailing and all that, then there's no alpha there in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So the alpha is through these, I would say, kings and unexpected, curveballs along the way that presents the opportunity. And if you're able to look beyond that or find a solution to that, then that's where, you pretty much get that additional, I would say, alpha, like I mentioned. Yeah.
Were there some examples that come to mind?
I think I'm a person with a weaker heart. I don't really like to take risk, and when problems come, I do have a moment where I'm like, life sucks. I have these moments, but my husband is the one who always reminds me, if it was easy to do, everyone would be able to do it and everyone would be doing it. But you are doing things differently, which is why your life outcome is expected to be different as well. You're trying to do something different to build a better future, right? So you can't expect it to be easy. My expectation was wrongly set. So I also experienced something similar to what Kah have shared and what you have shared as well, Daniel, where, due to certain circumstances, we were waiting for someone to move in, but last minute they can't. And then while I was getting insurance done, someone even better came along. So that actually happened for me very recently. Like they are starting, the family I wanted is starting today. Today is 29th, right?
Yep.
Yeah, starting today. I just got my last rent from the previous tenant yesterday, but they can't live there anymore due to circumstances of their own. So that's why today, and they could pay me the rent that they were paying, and my insurance was so much cheaper because now it's a better profile.
Wow.
So I got a refund on my insurance. But another thing you mentioned also challenges. What else can we face other than having tenants that maybe last minute pull out or they can't continue, they have to cut short their lease? Things like that, by the way, do happen in Singapore as well. In the rental market here, it's not just in the UK, we have terrible tenants sometimes, but Singapore also, you can have not so nice tenants as well. So it's not unique to
Yeah, it's the
just
nature of the
UK.
industry, right?
Yeah, it's just like that. It's normal. We just have to recognize that things happen. We just have to know how to find the solution to solve the issue. So one thing I thought I was quite proud of, and I've shared with you as well, I'm not sure if you guys have done student lets before.
Nope.
Yeah, so the thing that's characteristic of student lets is if you let to a group of students, the entire house is taken by students, you don't have to pay council fees, which is quite costly. So there was this 1 year that I let out to a group of students, and then lo and behold, they did not submit certain like student documentation to the town council, and the council didn't know that they are students and wanted to charge me the flat like normal rate, which is thousands of dollars. I was like, oh, suddenly I have to pay council thousands of dollars. The tenants have left because now a family has moved in, and I'm like, owing this sum of thousands of dollars to the council. So I was like, oh no, how do I solve the problem? Is it a problem? Technically, it's just a problem of money. Like it can be solved by money. It's not a huge issue like, oh, you're sued or something like that. But it's still a few thousand pounds. So I was like, oh no, how do we do this? And then eventually I thought, how about let me just I've been asking nicely to the tenants who left, the students, but they didn't reply. Students, they're young, 18 years old. They don't care about you, ex-landlord. So I was thinking, Christmas is coming. What if I give them a Christmas gift as an appreciation, if they provide me with the documents that I need? I mean, I'm going to save a few $1,000s. What if I give them, guess how much I give them?
That's a good move.
Three students, I gave them £40. £40. The last one just gave me already, but I was short of 2. I need to have all 3 before council give me a rebate. So that 2 tenants, I gave £40. I gave £40, so £80 plus £100 to my letting agent for the extra effort. Okay, long-term relationship, right? And in the end, I got everything back. So that was done. The moment I said £40, I got it within 2 days. I was like, why you all like that? But yes, it works. I was thankful. It's just £40. It's like, it's not even 100 Sing dollars,
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
so,
that's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. But beyond just the £40 and saving thousands of pounds in return, is the mindset. Because some people just get tripped up by it, right? They're like, wow, you owe me money. It cost me to, not be able to recover this money. And I still need to pay you. And they get all riled up
angry.
and they can't see beyond that, right?
Yep.
So sometimes it's just about how do we find a solution in this? How do you find a win-win situation?
Yes.
And that's brilliant. I mean, sometimes people they can't part with that small amount of money, but they don't see the bigger picture of how much they can get in return. That's such a great analogy, and thanks for sharing that.
And also patience as well, I guess. I guess being in Singapore, we're all used to the efficiency of things, processes, the different parties do things automatically and, by right sort of a thing. But in the UK, although everything is properly set up, that said, the efficiency is not quite there, right? So, a lot of follow-ups and I would say link ups that we need to do as well. So and this is but it's fine for us. At the end of the day, it's to push things through. It requires patience from us as investors, as well as being able to build proper relationships like what Joceyln mentioned as well. Once you build a proper relationship, in fact, sometimes you've got the lawyers helping you, you've got the the other selling, I would say the selling agents helping you as well, because they want to get the deal closed as well. So yeah.
That's so true. Ways of working are different, right? In the UK, we mentioned Christmas. When it comes to Christmas, everything shuts down in the UK. Whereas in Singapore, everybody is still working OT. It's just a different culture. But if you take a big picture view, you get it done, especially after you've done a few more deals, you get the confidence, right? Maybe just in closing, what advice would you give to listeners, people who are on the fence, wondering, can I do it? Should I learn more about it? What thoughts do you have?
I think it's easy to just get lost in thinking. You can think about, I want to do this. And, the natural sense of ourselves is that we will procrastinate. Our mind just like, oh, it's something scary, something huge. Do it tomorrow. That tomorrow never comes. You never get it done. So I think that first step is quite crucial, to take action. Not just thinking about taking action, but actually, really taking the action, by be it like, going for a mentorship with Daniel, or like really just getting it done, get your funds in place, to buy that first property. I think that first step is crucial. We can't just continue thinking. So I guess my best advice would be to take action. Don't just think about it.
Great.
Yeah.
Agree. Actually, You're right. I mean, a lot of times is taking the leap first and then making adjustments along the way. I think that's the key, right? Because most people would just analyze, and then they really get paralyzed thereafter, right? So I think the key thing is
Yes.
really to just take action, and then, this is what I do too, to be honest. Me and my wife, we do that too. Because like I said, it's never a straight road. You make adjustments along the way, and often there's life as well, right? I mean, how many of us would have thought that, if my child and my son say he wanted to be a YouTuber 10 years ago, I said, don't be crazy. But look at them. Look, you would never have thought that being a YouTuber would have been a viable career, but it is actually, right? So, I mean, make adjustments along the way, right? You never know what the future holds.
It's like riding a bike, right? You're
Exactly.
continually making constant small adjustments, but you know where your true north
Exactly.
is.
You might have some bruises as well, and that's part and parcel of the growth process.
Great. Kah Fook.
So maybe I think I touch on a little bit technicals from the analysis of the number perspective. Why UK property investment, it makes sense, right? So like what I say is like, I'm a number person. Everything is based on numbers itself. Other than the numbers, the yield makes sense, all right? I think the other thing that I think I would like to touch on is the investment strategy as well, all right? So first of all, what we are doing here, we are not investing in those that millions, 100,000 of pounds of houses in zone 1, zone 2. We are catering something that is for ordinary folks itself. So the same strategy that I apply in Singapore when I do my residential investment or commercial investment, so I can apply the same in the UK itself. So I always adopt the ordinary, the normal. For those that, like example, residential, those that upgrader, HDB upgrader, can upgrade to rent my condo when they want that property address just for their school,
Yes.
for example.
Yes, very common.
When economy is bad, okay, like rent high skyrocketing, downgrader can downgrade. Just for info, just for sharing, is like the tenant that rent my Paya Lebar condo now is a Merrill Lynch, I think head of department, something like that, where they used to rent in Orchard. Because of the rent go up so much, they be able to downgrade because they know Singapore. They no longer need to stay in those expensive area. So that's what I meant. So same strategy that I use in Singapore, I apply in UK. So we are not buying those that talk about millions. It's meant for like to rent out to expats. No, we are renting out to those locals. Okay. Plus the mindset of locals, they can rent for whole life. I wouldn't say that I was happy for that, but we must know what we are doing, right? When in this property investment, in this renting business itself, the last thing we want is void. So by knowing this, that I have many choice of tenants, so I don't need to worry about void at all itself, all right? Then for those that want to start, you can start small. You have a choice. Quantum are small, all right? And nobody stop you. Okay? Like if you talk about some of them that want to see the result fast, you can see the result fast as well. For first property that I got from for my grad school, all right, it's an option deal where I have to complete in 28 days.
Wow,
Imagine that
so rush.
I commit at the beginning of the month, I complete the purchase, end of the month, the next month I get my rent ready. So for those that really want to see result, you can see result as well. All right. So I don't really see any good reason that they don't start. Honestly, I can't convince myself not to do it. Not to do it honestly itself. You know, like greedy, it makes sense. It makes sense itself. The number, of course, if you talk about challenges, problems, issue, it's everywhere.
Definitely will.
Even in day-to-day, our works, in our life, we have all these things. So it's just how we see it and then do it. But the good thing is, when the lease was signed, like example, social housing, after everything was solved, the next 5 years, you don't need to do anything.
Yeah. That's a great point, right? And I think just to round up, thanks so much for all your sharings. Like, people often think like, wow, passive income doesn't sound passive. I mean, yes, it does take, first of all, investing in your knowledge, getting to know the experts. I mean, you guys have invested in your own knowledge, and obviously we have built the relationship over the years. It also does take the idea of working through your challenges, right? Yeah. So I think it's just amazing. And even in our conversation, I'm sure after this, we're going to have coffee together and we want to learn from Kah Fook, how did he build his portfolio in a short time. We want to learn from Marvyn, how did he design his life with his family, what is their dream life and they're going down under. And from Joceyln as well, how do they create more time freedom to be with their kids. So thanks so much for your sharing. I mean, it feels like we can go on, right? And that's the thing about, having like-minded investors coming together to learn. And the journey doesn't end here. Thank you so much for sharing so generously of your experiences. And yeah, who knows? Maybe we might do a second episode if people want us to share a little bit more.
Okay, that's fun.
Thanks,
That's
Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you for
having
having me.
us.
Cheers.
Thank you.